On this week's podcast, we discuss why kids are picking pro gaming and streaming as their future career. And on this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, it's all about cooperation as we name the best co-op game. All this and more on the Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host Liam Kelvin, and today I'm joined by the bearded one, Scott, the Tastemaker Curry. How are we, Scott?
that was like a Jeff Sterling. Scott, the Tastemaker Curry. Hey, I'm pretty good. I'm feeling nonsense tonight. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, it's a silly vibe in here just now.
I'm here for it, man. I'm all right. I finished work at 8. Jumped in the car, flew over here, and I'm ready to record some video game chatter.
In your private jet?
That's me, yep. Chartered a flight a couple of miles up the road. I'm Taylor Swift. That's me.
That's it.
Ruining this planet. Not with our music, but with the climate planes shit.
We're about
oh god,
not even 2 minutes into this episode, and you've already got the internet community of Swifties after us again.
Listen, Hurricane Milton didn't happen by itself.
Oh god, you're blaming
the government created this.
Oh no.
I'm kidding on.
Oh no.
Kidding on. But yeah, that's where we are. I'm feeling great. I'm energized. I'm vitalized. I'm here. How are you?
Good, yeah, same thing. It's just it's been a bit of a trash day at work, to be honest with you, but I had this to look forward to, so that kind of kept me anchored. And the wussa, just calm down, it's fine. Get days like that.
What's wussa?
Wussa, just try to calm down.
You said that as if everyone will know what that means.
They'll know. If you're hearing this and you know what it is, just tweet at us because I need that support. Bar that, it's been a bit of a rough week, to be honest, like with the kids, or just one of them. My daughter's just not really been sleeping great, This is just the joys of what if one of your kids has autism, to be honest with you. It's like the sleep doesn't really occur a lot of the time. It can be symptomatic. So we've got stuff on that to help, but every now and then she has a wee phase where it's like ding.
No.
And it's been getting like earlier and earlier. So it's like over the past week we've been getting she was up from 3:30 and about 2:30. Last night it was 11:30. It's just like, oh my god. So I kind of feel a little bit like The Walking Dead, but I feel like the phase is coming hopefully to an end. But yeah, it's still not stopped me from doing everything that we do in between. It's you still got to have that sanity time.
Yeah.
In between it all. So gaming to the rescue. Which I'm glad to say. But yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into talking all things games again this week. But before we do...
All things games.
We're going to be talking peripherals. No, we're not.
No. I'm not prepared for this.
I know, just all these things I want to buy and don't need. Hi, PS5 Pro. So before we get into it, let's just get some housekeeping out the road. So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. If you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at Pixel_Parents on Twitter, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear and want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review and share this podcast online with your friends. It really helps us out, and of course, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. So with that out of the way,
it's been beautiful watching it happen.
Yeah,
like numbers recently have been doing really well, and we spoke about it on the old Twitter, but it's been nice to see growth and have community. It's nice to have a wee community out there that
a wee tiny slice.
We'll listen to the shite that we talk. It's nice.
I am just. Yeah, bowled over by it. I think we both have just been really touched. I suppose we've started this podcast just for something for us, just to do.
It's legitimised it. Because I always felt a wee bit like family were always like, "Why are you doing a podcast?" It's like, well, it's not really for you. Like, it's for us just to talk shite. Like, and if I die, then you have 27 episodes of me talking rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty nice, but it's sort of legitimised where I can say, like, look, these are the numbers, like, chew on that, you fucking bitch.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh my God. And I heard that's the door closing. The door closing, they're away. No, we do really appreciate it. And again, we can't really put into words, you know, everybody that tunes in every week and interacts with us online, you know who you are. These are the real ones, the OGs. And we appreciate you.
That mean you the OTC?
What's that?
The original tribal chief.
It does actually.
No, you're not seeing the new T-shirt.
Oh, don't get me.
He's got an OTC T-shirt because obviously Soul was the fake tribal chief, and he's got an OTC T-shirt.
I'm going to buy that during this podcast.
There's been developments on the old wrestling recently, which has been beautifully watched.
Lovely.
It's on a tear. But what have I been playing this week? Sorry to get back to the original question.
Yes, let's dig into it.
So, I don't think anyone will be surprised that I've continued on my Dragon Age Inquisition journey.
Shocked I am.
It's grabbed me by the short and curlies and won't let go. I adore this game. It's taking me back 10 years ago to a place where, you know, I didn't fully understand what was happening, and I've realised that if I played 20% of that game, I would be shocked. You know, like I finished it. If 20% of the whole game is just the story, that's all I did.
Yeah,
didn't look at half of the stuff on there. Like all the ward table and all that, and all the daft wee missions that you can send them out on and stuff. And even just like, you know, traversing through all the different areas and learning about, like, you know, all the different factions and where they all come into it. I didn't do any of it. Like, there's areas in this game right now that I didn't even know existed. I didn't know there was a big desert area.
Yeah.
The western place, the western front, the western approach, and you know, all these different places and stuff. It was just ridiculous. So I've just been living in that world. And my party makeup has sort of changed now as well. So you obviously rock with Cassandra, Varric, and Solus.
Yep.
And I think that when I first played it, I went with them the whole time, apart from when you got Iron Bull.
Yeah, of
and,
course.
And Varric get tossed straight out.
Shocked.
But only when I need something unlocked,
right,
he'll maybe come with us. But as the game has progressed, you know, kind of feeding in Dorian a wee bit in there, but Cole coming in there too, and Blackwall is a stalwart now. Him and Cassandra and Solus and stuff together, I'm just like, oh, I'm into this. Battering dragons and stuff like that. But then it happened. Then it finally happened.
Right.
And the character that, I mean, this is why we're here. We're all here for this one character in Dragon Age. And she came back. And she came back well. And Morrigan is back in our lives again with Dragon Age Inquisition. And good grief, was I happy to see her. It's amazing how you have a playthrough where you're so specific in the choices that you make. Like, my Herald of Andraste, the Inquisitor, you would call,
yes, is
so set in his ways that nothing will change him. He's a canary, so like he'll make decisions based on the coon and all that, you know.
Yeah.
But when Morrigan comes in, everything just gets thrown out the window. Fuck it. Anything she wants, she gets now. So it's just that's just the way things are going. So I reckon I done the big, you know, the mission where you go to like the grand ballroom and stuff like that, and you go, you know, Celeste and everything. And you get to choose who leads the Orlesian Empire and whatever like that. So I've done all that, and I think I'm now just on, like, you know, the downward path towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
But I text you halfway through this, and I was like, I forgot that there was a bad guy in this game. Like, I didn't realize who Corypheus was. I didn't realize when I saw his face, I was like, oh, weird, you know, weird face man. But it just had weird come
face man
to tell me he's not a weird face man.
He really is.
But as I say, I've sunk many hours into this game, and I'm now in a place where, you know, on the cusp. I'll say on the cusp. We've obviously got Silent Hill 2. I've been playing that. I played that on stream last night.
Yep. Where can people join you in that stream? So
Pixel_parents on Twitch.
There we go.
I remembered. But played it on Twitch. I'm going to have to look at, you know, other streaming platforms as well where I can multi-stream, but I have some thoughts and feelings about that initially, and not many because I'm literally only an hour into it. But to kind of end the Dragon Age Inquisition chat, I think that because we've got Silent Hill 2 now, I've got Metaphor ReFantasio, and I am weak at the knees for Dragon's Ball Sparking Zero.
Yes,
everything I'm seeing about this game is just like, Scott, come on.
It looks fantastic though.
It's genuinely just like standing there with his hand out, like, come on.
Yes.
Just come with us. You know, forget everyone else. You know, you want to come this way. Come on. So I'm no doubt going to, you know, jump head first into that. So, you know, counting the days that Dragon Age Inquisition lives on. So I think this is the official marking in the ground that I'm saying I'm just going to main path it now. Just get to the end of the story. I don't think that doing any more side questing and stuff is really going to open up anything more that I need to know.
Yeah,
for the Veilguard. So I'm kind of there now, but it has been a blast. I have loved every minute. I didn't expect to love this quite as much, but I am honestly so excited for Dragon Age now, just to have more of it in my life. And I think what I'm going to try and do, depending on what the options are, I might try and carry forth the legacy that my Herald of Andraste carries with him.
Yep.
And create a character that kind of follows that. But I'm here for it. And I'm buzzing for Dragon Age.
You've timed it to absolute perfection because you will finish it with time to spare before the Veilguard comes out. I wish that I had it in me to go back to Inquisition just beforehand because I thought it's been like 10 years since I've played it. And I have went back just to kind of look at the visual upgrades, I suppose, on the Xbox Series X. It's still a looker, and it's great just to, you're at that point now where you understand why it was Game of the Year that year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
A lot of people say it was a quiet year, which I can't dispute, but it's a fantastic game.
Well worthy of it.
And the Veilguard is, like we said last week, that's now going to be the biggin to the rest of the year. But yeah, you've named a couple of very chunky games in there.
It's an absolute nightmare. I'll come to Silent Hill 2, the remake, and I had no intention of buying this.
Yeah,
not one. And then I was just looking through my game collection because I'm decorating my office now, so I'm like all the work table and stuff that's coming down. I'm just like, I'm not using this space as an office anymore. I'm going to get a wee fold out desk and just work from that if I need to.
Yeah,
because it takes up, you know, a third of the room, so it's not worth it anymore.
A wee space saver.
Yeah, so I'm going to really look at my game room now and get it kind of properly looking like an actual room and not just a dump for everything to go in. But I was looking through the games that I have, and I was like the PS5 Pro's coming. I'm now in like, let's just get rid of everything. Right. What's the wee lady that's on Netflix that, you know, she tidies people's houses?
I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Right,
yeah.
So it's her. I'm basically going through that process, and I'm getting shot of all these games. So all kind of loads of old PS4 games that I know I'm not going to worry about playing on the PS5 Pro. Couple of Switch games, couple of PS3 games, shockingly, which is strange. Kind of found them laying about. So I went to CEX, the last bastion of, you know, physical media and trade-ins.
Doing the Lord's work.
And it's hilarious how you can go from having like £150 in trading credit through CEX to getting like 70 quid in cash. It's just like, yeah. But
you take it.
Yeah, 100%. So I took the £70 and went and bought Silent Hill 2. It's basically paid for itself. And the first hour that I've spent with it running through, you know, Silent Hill it's been fantastic. Yeah. Like it's honestly, I think a lot of the concerns coming into it where it's not really going to be faithful to the original game. James looks weird. All the other characters, you know, look a bit strange as well. And I don't think people believe that Bloober Team could do it.
Yeah.
Like, and there seems to be a lot of concern with, you know, when the original Silent Hills came out, technology was limited. So like the fog physics and stuff like that were there for the reason they had to be there, you know, like it couldn't render quite far. Yeah. But I think a lot of people thought that the fog won't look quite as good as it did, and it looks incredible.
I mean, it could only look better, especially with all like the volumetric lighting effects and that
ridiculous.
You have available to games now. So
ridiculous. I think when I looked at James at first, I was like, I like the way he looks.
Mm-hmm.
There's something a bit daft about him. Like there's always something a wee bit strange about him. He's got a weird face, but I love him. Like I just love his daft wee face. Like there's something pure endearing about him. And it carries on everything that you would know from the original Silent Hill 2. And I think that I'm not reviewing it officially at the moment, right? Because that'll come. But if it carries on the way it's going and just it doesn't break any new ground, I'd be quite happy with that. It's like sometimes you'll have remakes that will change everything. Final Fantasy VII remake, do you know what I mean? But with this, it's such a faithful game it's such a beloved game, that remaining faithful to what it done before is the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
And I think that from what I've played so far, it's doing that in spades. It's giving you the nostalgia trip that you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going on holiday to your favorite. It's like going to Blackpool when you were young. You remember what it looked like back then, but when you go back now, it's like it looks a wee bit better. Do you know what I mean? Like it's Blackpool, but Silent Hill 2, it's incredible, and I'm having so much fun playing it.
Excellent.
And it's not scary yet. Like I've got to daffy parts, but I'm shite at combat. Cannot save. Cannot hit anything to save myself. And there's something really funny. Look, when you take out the monsters at first, they walk at you and you scud them with a bat or the kind of wood with the nails in it, and then they go down on the floor on the stand. But you can keep on hitting R2 and you just basically just stomp a fucking mud hole in them. And I do it honestly. Every single enemy that I've fought, I do it for a good 5 seconds afterwards. I'm just like knocking lumps into these characters. But I'm going to continue playing it on stream just to obviously cater to the horror fan base out there.
Spooky season's upon us.
So I'll work on that. Eventually get to Alan Wake 2 DLC.
When is that out?
In the middle of October.
Okay,
so I think it's like next week at some point or the week after.
Well, you'll drop everything and play that, but that should only be a couple of hours.
It won't be
evening.
It won't be too long. But yeah, I'm here for it. So I think that the way the schedule is going to work, because I know you asked me to create a wee schedule for it.
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill 2, Alan Wake 2, depending on when I finish Silent Hill, Alan Wake 2 or Dead Space remake.
Yes.
And then I'll play Alan Wake 2, and then I'll think of something else afterwards.
Good shout.
But keep an eye on the socials, because I will do something
on Soch. That's what it's at.
Soch, But that's games. And I've continued to play Super Mario Wonder with the wee one. She's still class at it, which is ridiculous. Like can manage a whole level but can't jump to one box.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, please. But yeah, we're here for it.
Excellent. I mean, it's gonna be a busy old time. I'm in the polar opposite, because I'm enjoying some new games, and it's been a week. I've had a few new games to play, but I feel like I've kind of got a bit of a clear run to Dragon Age Inquisition at this point, which is good. But I'll be away on holiday next week as well. Still have the podcast, don't panic. But I'll be away, and I just feel like cool. I'm not going to be missing out too much. The only thing I'm thinking about is like my Marvel Snap. Because got to hit that 4K. Got to hit it. Although I have to say, I've been smashing it. I hit 16K last week. Honestly,
like, some people would just say I have to hit 4 and stop.
Honestly, I'm like the Batista of that group last week. It was an amazing effort.
Why Batista?
Because he's so hench, An absolute beast.
Going to go with any other wrestler but Batista?
Nah, because I don't want to be too cocky. I can't be like I was the Triple H of it. We're not going back at naming wrestling stuff. That's for next week. But of course, I've been playing a lot. It finally arrived. Right, so last week I was talking to you about the Shop 2 debacle, and of course it arrived. So it was just the long weekend seemed to delay it. Still disappointing though, because the note's coming up. Just send it earlier, guys. So been playing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So it's good. Making my way through it.
Is that the review? It's good.
That's the review. It's good. Aye. Next. It's an interesting one for me, right? So I'm still midway through it, probably about halfway through the game, I'd say. And at first, of course, you're totally taken in by the charm. If you're a big Zelda fan, it hits all those notes. You know, Hyrule is rendered in such a charming fashion. If you played Link's Awakening, it's the same style. Very cutesy. Quite like the twist of you're playing as Zelda. Because again, excuse me, it's something new, which would, still spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. It still manages to find ways to kind of shake things up in the formula.
Yeah.
But the echoes mechanic as well, which I've introduced, is pretty cool. So it's kind of like you can learn it with like your magic wand stuff. I'm not really paying too much attention as I'm playing it, but it's like if you take out an enemy, you can go up and then press like the right bumper or the right trigger and learn it. So then you can unleash that in the world.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same goes for like certain items like tables and boxes and all that stuff. So you kind of, it gives you this toolkit to kind of solve puzzles and stuff in dungeons, and some of them it's just been like, all right, cool. And if you've played Tears of the Kingdom and you've got like the super hand ability where you could kind of take control of something and manipulate it, it's kind of got its own version of that.
Right,
it's not called super hand, but it's basically you can move stuff about in dungeons and in the world and stuff, which is cool. You can even do it to some enemies, which is quite cool. But really enjoying those initial hours, and then as I start to get deeper into it, the kind of the impact that it's having on me, in the sense that the combat I feel's really weighing it down, and I'm really missing just being Link,
and
sword, shield,
and everything,
arrows. Now there is an ability in the game where you effectively turn into Link, but it's on like an energy, so it times out, and you have to kind of get more like charge up effectively of it, and it makes the combat really slow, because what you're doing is, instead of you going up and whacking them with a stick and like melee, you're like, right, I will generate another monster with an echo and you'll go fight that, do my bidding, but it's dead slow. You've got to wait for them to like wind up, attack, wind up,
so
attack.
do you control the thing attacking, or does it have like its own pattern that it follows then?
Its own pattern, so it's like automated. Okay.
So like if it's a moblin, for example, right? I don't know if moblins are in it, but that's what I remember.
There are, yeah.
They have like a up down strike, and that's it. Not left to right, so it's just up down. That is literally it. So you just have to wait for that.
So it's like you can use a sword moblin, or you could use a spear moblin, or maybe you chuck a wolf at it, or like a Kessie or something like that. Just anything, and you can. They all have different like kind of units, so you kind of like 3 units to start off,
right? Okay,
and you can upgrade that to 4. One of the monsters might take 4, one might take 1, so you can put multiple on.
Right. Okay.
So it's that type of system. And at first I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, but I'm like, I really have just been missing just the melee. I really just wish that they gave you something to give you a little bit more agency. But I can see what they're going for, because it makes it, Zelda shouldn't play like Link, so she's a lot more distinct. But I thought it was worth kind of pointing that out, just in case anybody else is listening thinking that's what you could do, because I was under the impression that you could still at least do a basic melee attack, which you can't. But I'll continue, but I must say it has kind of bogged it down a bit for me, that initial momentum.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
makes sense.
So it's made me think about Link's Awakening more, which I started playing with my son this week, and he was really enjoying it, which is good. Just playing that side by side to help him, just like with some of the puzzles and that, which I was stumped on a couple of times, I have to admit.
Nice.
But he was actually getting it, like, right, shield up for those bits, attack when they're open, that type of stuff. And I mean, it's probably likely a fluke most of the time. But I've been playing a lot like with him on the Switch this week, which is kind of getting me excited for the prospect of a Switch 2. And there's been loads of stuff. He really wants to go back to Luigi's Mansion 3. So I'm like, right, okay, we'll put it on. And I'm thinking it's Halloween and stuff. He might obviously be just kind of feeling that vibe. And putting it on, and he's actually been doing a lot better with it.
Cool.
But again, Luigi's Mansion 3, because you're thinking Nintendo games are all dead easy. That's probably not the greatest pick. I mean, my son's 4, so it's still like when you're taking out the ghost, there's quite a lot of kind of button inputs needed, swinging them side to side and that. And it doesn't really do a good job of signposting you and where you need to go, but that's part of the fun, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a very exploration-based game. Explory. It's an explory game.
Dora the Explory.
But been playing that, but we also took a dive into the Switch Online Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
and we were trying out a few games, and he wanted to play Killer Instinct. I was like,
Fantastic.
on you go. But one round is like, this isn't really that good because it looks like trash. Now, like, I know if we're looking at it from our perspective as Algians that played it, it's like the rose tinted glasses will see past it, but it's a smudgy mess.
Yeah.
And it was brutal for him. So I thought, right, okay, where else have I got? And this might, I know he's 4, so it's like maybe I shouldn't have, but I put on Tekken 8 for him because I thought it's all just like flashy stuff. There's no blood in all that. It's not like Mortal Kombat. And what a masterstroke with that special style that they've got in it, because you tap L1, you can button mash. He was going king, pulling off these insane combos.
I love it.
On easy mode.
I love it.
Against the CPU. And you could see he was enjoying it. He was getting that kind of high that you needed from it. So he played a wee bit of that and he enjoyed it. So King's his favourite.
Good.
Naturally.
He knows well. He's picked very well.
Aye, he's definitely got some taste, that's for sure. Playing my way through that as well, though, because it's kind of made me want to pick up Tekken 8 again, which is good because I'm like, I'll have this next round, and other things as well. Like he's been playing Mario Kart as well, which has been good fun. Mario Kart's just so good for kids, so good. Still not coming in first, but we'll get there.
Just you, blue shelling him,
sitting there, just me in the bad bit. Yes. Still kind of beat your old there. No, but I've really enjoyed that this week. Just kind of taking it at a bit of a different pace. I've been still playing FC25 in between it all, but I've also been playing the Starfield Shattered Space.
Oh, aye.
I'd actually meant to bring this up last week, but I thought I'll keep playing it because I might as well. And yeah, it immediately feels more Bethesda than the original Starfield game.
Handcrafted, isn't it? It's like everything has purpose. Effectively,
yeah, and all this DLC takes place in the one planet, which is House Faroon. So if you remember Andreja, like she's one of your companions in the base game. Andreja. Well, that's basically where that's kind of like her home world in House Faroon, and they all kind of. It's a bit weird. The planet looks cool. It's kind of like got this pink red kind of vibe going on. It's very culty, religious-y almost.
Right. Okay.
And they're trying to lean a little bit more into close quarter combat. So they introduce like a new enemy type, and that's the thing. I remember, again, somewhat echoes of wisdom, good momentum at the start. I'm enjoying the opening them. They've added like the new vehicle and stuff to help you get about. And I'm like, right, okay, but I don't prefer the close quarter stuff as much as the standard combat, which is snappy. I love the combat in Starfield, but this one, I'm like, I need to go get a melee build or something because the guys are brutal. They're actually brutal. And I don't know, I'm still going to continue through with it. It definitely feels like a good installment. It's not going to be to the highs of like a Far Harbor or like the Skyrim DLCs. I can't remember the name of them. But it does just feel a little bit more Bethesda, just with it being in one location.
They've obviously spent a bit of time,
Yeah.
With it, it's not procedurally generated, which was the issue with Starfield. Like, I have a bit of an issue with games where if I see something in the distance, I'm going to have to go and check out what it is. Like, it's with Dragon Age. Like, if I see a wee thing on the map, I'm like, I better go and have a look at that quickly.
Gotta be nosy.
With Starfield, it was like, I'll do that, but nothing ever felt like it had purpose there.
Yeah, I mean, there was too many times you'd visit a planet, like visiting Earth, and Earth is supposed to be a desolate wasteland, but then everywhere felt like that. No matter what planet, it's like, there's a random alien. It kind of reminded me a bit of early days No Man's
Sky, aye.
And that was disappointing because I was like, just pepper in some civilization. Like, we'll accept it. We'll go with the fantasy of like people have settled all throughout it, and that's the thing.
It's just less, just quality over quantity. Like, it's nice having a million different. Like, that was that not the? It
was a big surprise.
That was the thing. Like they said, like there's 15 billion planets that you can go to, but they all just look the same, and there's nothing there. It's like, right, okay, Todd Howard, you thief.
What was the name of that game? It was like a military simulator. Operation. I can't remember what it was. Somebody screaming at the speaker just now. Operation Flashpoint, I think it was.
Right, okay.
And that had like a map so big that it took like 45 minutes to walk across it.
God.
It was huge, strategic, but it was vast nothingness.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. I feel that way about Metal Gear Solid 5. Like,
Yeah,
it was full of things, but it was like pointless. Like pointless things. It's like Ground Zeroes is the best Metal Gear Solid 5 game. Do you know what I mean? Like considerably. But with that was always my issue with Starfield, is that the areas that were full of nothing were full of nothing, and the areas that were full of stuff were just full of like weird stuff that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, like if you see like a big beastie coming at you,
Aye.
I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm like, I just need to be in the mood to like taking out big long drawn out fights with these things. I'm like, I'd rather go fight space pirates or dogfight in space with some ships. You know, it's
it makes sense. But everything I've heard about Starfield, like the shattered space stuff, like people are enjoying it. Like I spent a bit of time this week just watching people playing it on stream.
Oh yeah,
Just out of morbid curiosity. It's just like, and one of the streamers that I was following while I was watching was like, I can't even remember what he said, but it's just like there's a comparison with like, you know, it was a Skyrim comparison. I'll come back to me because I think I wrote it down, but it was like, it was really funny. I'll find it what it was.
But I think I wouldn't say it's something that you need to rush out and get unless you're a huge fan of Starfield, to be honest, because I've only got access to it because I remember getting the premium upgrade because it was on Game Pass. It was 30 quid, and at the time I was like, I'll get to play it a few days early. And the reason I did that is because we were getting our kitchen done. I thought, I've got a few days because I'd taken that week off, and I was like, I've got a few days, I might as well play some Starfield. But yeah, it's I don't know, there's a lot in there to like, and the best of that game is when you're not doing the main stuff, like typical Bethesda, I suppose. But there is a lot in there to like, and if you give it a chance, it will reward you. But unless you're playing it in Game Pass, I can't really recommend somebody goes out and buy it. That's the thing. So if it does come to PS5, which we're all expecting sometime soon, be forewarned.
Is this so? Obviously, kind of taking it. Obviously, you're saying that, right? And the PS5 stuff with the news about Halo this week. Right, I don't want to go too far into it because I don't understand it. Right?
Oh no,
but
I'm here.
With it now being made on Unreal Engine 5.
Yep.
And they're creating a whole new Halo studio for it. I do actually understand what's happening, right?
The 343 is rebranded
to Halo Studios, which I hear, right? So does that mean that, there's a better chance now of it being on PlayStation 5?
We don't know. Like,
but in your head, like,
in my head, yes.
I'm listening to like people making content about it, right? And talking about the future of Halo. And it's all just the same shit. Remake the old games, which is fine. Remake everything. I'm talking about, Silent Hill 2 being remade, right? But with Halo, it's like the remake of the original Halo was Infinite, I'm sure. Like, it's basically the same. Everything's the same. Like, how many times can I look at that one biome? Like,
yeah, it's that kind of Northwest American type kind of scenery. That was one of the kind of biomes that they've kind of tested. So that they've got a good 6-minute video where they talk about it, and none of the assets are like in game. Effectively, it's just them switching over to UE5.
Yeah,
and their art director just giving the team different ways to. So they did one in the classic Halo type biome. They had one with like the flood everywhere, and just try to test out what this Halo looked like in this engine. And to be fair, I mean, looks utterly gorgeous, but this is all effectively concept art.
Aye.
And Master Chief, I have to say, it's thick. Like he's beefed up a good bit. I appreciated the kind of old school armor and that on it, but yes, there's been a lot of There's the few kind of podcasts out there that I've been listening to this week, kind of talking about like Halo, and it's like I'm taken back to 2003 and not in a good way.
Yeah,
it's like Halo. I don't really know how we ever get it being back to the heyday, but just because taste and the audience have kind of moved on, and the only way you kind of win they tried to modernise it by adding something as simple as a sprint. And you've got the diehard Halo fans. It's like, it's not Halo anymore. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be like a slow moving arena type shooter. And you go back to that now. I just don't know, outside of like the hardcore older audience, and that's us. That's you and me, right?
Yeah.
That would appreciate it. And I just, rebooting it does seem like to be the best time, because the Forerunners saga and all that, everything they worked in, you know, Cortana's the baddie, all that stuff. It was all right, but it just didn't have the same simple charm.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, if there's some classic IP out there. It's like, imagine Star Wars with its Stormtroopers, and it does feel a little bit of a stretch if they tried to replace the Stormtroopers with something else. So it's like, if you can imagine in the sequel, like Star Wars trilogy, they just kind of touched up the Stormtroopers and gave them a different look as the First Order, but imagine they were just something else, like goblins, different. And it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's kind of happened with Halo, because it kind of looks the same, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing where it's like, Mum, can I have a McDonald's? We've got McDonald's at home.
Aye.
And
the chalk ices in the freezer.
Exactly.
It's
and it's like, it
heartbreaking.
does the job, but it's just not the same.
Aye.
And
I just don't see how it moves forward. Like,
nah,
I think that Halo needs to live on. Like, there needs to be something with it, right? But how many times can you dip back into that well and not change much?
That's it.
Like, we spoke. I'm kind of dipping back into the Zelda conversation, but Zelda has the same story pretty much every single time, but the gameplay changes. Like, in Unreal Engine 5, great. Let's show Master Chief, but you'll never see him like that again, because you look at everything through his eyes. It's just like, it makes no sense. It's just, I'm not the Halo man here, and maybe I will be. Maybe I'll go back and play those games, because I've not played any of them, to be honest with you. But it's just my experience with it. It's just like, let's go back in and reboot the whole franchise and tell the story all over again, but with a different point of view. It's like, why? Like, I
mean,
remake The Last of Us Part 2, but tell us the story through another survivor's eyes. It's like, what's the point in that?
I mean, yeah, it's like you're now in remake territory, I think, because you look at the likes of like Silent Hill 2's came out and it's got glowing reviews, and remakes should, as closely as possible, stick to that vision. Very rarely will you get the Final Fantasy VII approach, and I don't recommend to do that. And I'm with you. I think we do need, the gaming industry needs a strong Halo, but it needs to go away for a bit.
Yeah,
it needs to go away, and it won't, because there's too much riding it. They've invested
next year
so
or something
much.
Like that. Is it like 25th anniversary of one of the Halos as well? So
yeah, so I mean, and that's put me in mind for a good challenge for you, because the first 3 Halo games are fantastic. Like, even just the campaigns, they are so much fun.
I'll play them, then I'll do it.
Even better fun in co-op, might add. But it's something I think it needs to go away. It needs to have its God of War moment. I'm not saying do a God of, like, literally just do what God of War did. They need to find something that's not too far away.
Third-person action game with Master Chief,
mini Master Chief,
CQC, and all that in it.
You know what I mean? Just a grumpy old da.
I just don't get it. I don't understand it, and hopefully they prove me wrong, because I'm not, marketing genius man here, but I just don't see how it works.
It's very much Halo. I hate to admit, is a moment in time. It's a bit like trying to bring back new metal at the top of the charts.
Yeah,
right. It's not going to happen. But the new metal fans out there, man, they live and die on that.
Yeah,
and they do it hard, and I love that, because it's like, yes, because I'm one of them.
Yeah,
and it's like, that was our moment in time. Halo goes along with it.
Yeah,
and it ain't ever coming back. It's going to come back, but it's never going to be the top of the tree anymore. But you've got that weight of expectation from its core fan base that it's Halo. Everything must stop when Halo comes out. It's like the Halo 2 and 3 launch all over again. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, especially, unfortunately, with Game Pass about, which diminishes these returns on launches.
I don't understand it. It's a complete anomaly in my head. It doesn't connect, but
no, God, connect, don't get it started.
It doesn't have to. Boom, boom.
That's it. But of course, I think it's time for us. I think we should move on to our main topic this week, Scott. An interesting one. which of course we're titling Gaming Careers, Why Streaming? I've got some facts to kick things off here, Scott. Because it got me thinking.
Because those facts.
I thought this was quite a salient subject. Right? Big words. I've ate the dictionary today. Because we're talking about video games from a parent's perspective. So this is one very much with the next generation in mind. So, according to a study by YouGov in Great Ormond Street Hospital back in May this year, pro gamer, streamer, and footballer, they were named as the top 3 most popular careers for kids that they wanted to do in the UK. So I was like, fascinating. 17% said they wanted to be a pro gamer, and also 17% said they wanted to be a streamer. And 16% said they wanted to be a video game developer. So I thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Found it absolutely fascinating, but it kind of showed to me as, again, men at a time, that, media's totally changed from when we were kids. As I'd mentioned, none of them are wanting to be Fred Durst. They're like,
we all did. Astronauts.
Exactly. So I mean, that's gone now. Like, it's not like I want to be a
policeman or something. You always had
that.
one guy in the class that was like a dinosaur or something like that. Something pure weird.
Oh man, or a Pikachu probably for us. Aye, that's hilarious. But I always remember, and I'm thinking, like, let's go back to ourselves, right, and compare it with now. But when I was younger, like video games media had obviously always captivated me. Hence why we're here today. Mainly magazines, which I spoke about before, and that definitely led me later in life to go down the journalism route, where I met your fine self. And from my time in video games and traditional journalism and working there, I was probably there what you could say was the beginning of the end, really. And by the time we graduated, actually we were saying that, it's like there's no jobs, like everything was dying, magazines and print, they were all getting shifted to online, not shut down, but it was like they were just getting shifted to online, so the pool was getting smaller.
And you're starting to see it more and more now as well.
Yep, so I mean, yeah, we're seeing more and more games websites being shut down, sadly, as well as the few remaining games magazines in the UK, which makes me so sad, obviously, for the people impacted, because you don't want to see anybody lose their livelihood. That's kind of paramount amongst it. But also, you're saying goodbye to something that was an aspiration and something that you held so dear as a source of information. And I hate to say, like, we're all guilty for it. Like now, like I can't remember the last time I went on a IGN or a gaming website to get gaming info. You get it in 280 characters.
Yeah, 100%.
Or on YouTube, but usually it's that or Twitter. And if you're interested, there's a YouTuber. So I'm not surprised by it at all. And I'll dig more into my experience of it, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on, like, what's your thoughts on those stats originally from that study?
It's not surprising at all. It's, these are the trends now. It's ridiculous, to be truthfully honest with you. Obviously, within my life, I done a year course in teaching. So I understand, the motivations, and I've seen it firsthand. People talking about it, and watched it through nephews and stuff like that, where the content that they digest now is just, it was previously just people playing Minecraft. It's like, I play Minecraft. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could do this, and it seems like I get to sit in my pants all day and play video games all day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, who wouldn't? I'd want to do that now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would want to do that, but
you'd be lying if you said you weren't.
Like, pay me to play video games. Sign me up. Like, give me the paycheck now. But it's one of those things where, nobody wants to be a builder anymore. Like, nobody wants to be an electrician, which the pay is great. So
get themselves an apprenticeship, they'll be laughing.
That's it. Aye. And it's these kind of things are slowly dying out. But it's such a congested area as well. Like, you go on Twitch right now. I don't know if there's a way that you can view, how many people are streaming on Twitch right at this very second, but
have a look.
It is astronomical. But then there's more places than ever before to stream. You can go on YouTube, you can stream from TikTok, You've got those weirdos who stream on Kick. You know, they made their own website so they can be, what do you call them? They can be unruly in their own system. So it's just like there's loads of places that you can do it, and that's not even talking about the litany of people who just make content and churn it out on a daily basis.
I mean, I've got some stats here for you.
Right, show me.
Just to galvanise your point. So right now, I mean, we're getting this from twitchtracker.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there's 3,400,000
numbers. 3.4 million.
3.4 million live viewers.
Right.
There's 2.3 million 7-day average viewers. There is live channels right now, so people streaming. There is 116,000.
That's wild.
Absolutely mental.
That seems like a drop in the ocean, but
that's a lot.
Yeah, and you've got streamers who have, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that watch them on a daily basis, like that Kai Cenat.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that, is it Iron Mouse, who became the most followed or most subscribed streamer on earth at the moment.
Yep.
Some weird VTuber person. But it's just there's a slice of the pie for everyone, it seems. But you either get used to having such a sort of like a small community to begin with and growing that over years, because it's not going to be instant success unless you go viral. You know, you create a viral moment, and you kind of work it that way. But it's just as a parent, you know, if my daughter came home tomorrow and went, "Dad, I want to be a streamer," I'd be like, "Well, no, you're 4. Like, you can't stream anything. Like, can't even spell the word stream." But it's one of those things where, as an adult, I'd be like, "Where do you even start?" Like,
well, I really thought about it again from our perspective. What would you do if the little one who came home and said that? And I've thought of an analogy which kind of best describes it, because I also think about the older generation than us, so like our mum and dads, and they think you're talking like Swahili, because it's like, what? Like, what's a streamer?
Yeah. You actually watch people. You watch people play games.
Aye, they can't comprehend it, and I think that it's now become. So if I look at it, in my experience as a musician, right, okay, so obviously, you know, musical family, played in bands since I was like 12 up until when we had the wee ones. And that was always the big aspiration as well. Like lots of people's like, I want to be a rock star.
Yeah.
I want to play the guitar, I want to play the drums, I'm going to be in a band. And the industry would support that, right? And you would have A&R reps if you got big enough coming up to your shows, and you get a record deal, or you could get spotted from like a talent scout agency and fast tracked. Lots of ways in, and your hit single is effectively your going viral moment. And that's what I look at. That's the way I look at it now, is that the music industry is dead, right? It's completely dead. Like, there is no way in outside of virality.
Aye, 100%.
Making music for social media content.
Yeah.
So all the bands now, the best way, unless you are someone that's been fast tracked, like some fast track big dog, you know, and Ed Sheeran or something like that, right? They're coming for me.
Doing Coldplay.
No. Oh God, take my medicine. But it's one of those. Unless you're fast tracked, like if you look at it, the biggest artists are Adele, Ed Sheeran. Who else am I missing out there? This was Coldplay. There's just like a very small handful. Sam Smith, the big ones that come out, and they're not even advertised as heavily as it would be.
I feel like they were big pre this boom,
the dearth,
like the dearth of it. Now you've got people like that Chappelle Roan. You know what I mean? Like, we all know her because we've heard that Hot to Go song. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's massive on
where did we hear it?
TikTok and all that. And you've got that pure back on 74. Like, no idea who sang that song, but it's class.
Exactly. You're going to music festivals now and you're getting artists that are famous through a 20-second TikTok clip.
A clip.
So,
and Meghan Trainor's made her entire career off music like that.
Exactly. And
I'm going after the Meghan Trainor fan base because she is fucking abysmal. Like, I'm going to double down on it because, my God,
make it stop.
She does. She makes music that is
the internet's at the door.
Purely made for TikTok. It's like, it's ridiculous.
This is now becoming a trend where we're just like slating musicians on this podcast.
I'm sorry, Meghan Trainor. I'm sure you're lovely. And you're married to the guy that was in Spy Kids.
Of course.
Like,
I'll go.
and all of his children look like him, but it's
I hope they do.
like I mean, exactly like him. But I see what you mean. It is like
That's
there's
the
parallels.
analogy.
It is you do, and you know, it's like I follow streamers now. I've followed Maximilian Dude for years,
Yeah.
and it is just now. I'm a fan of his because everything he does is great, and he covers fighting games and things. But there's streamers that I follow now that I follow them because I've seen something online.
Mm-hmm.
Like I follow a guy, couldn't tell you his name. I follow two people actually. I follow a guy on Twitter, Twitch at the moment that.
As long as it's not in person, it's all right.
Follow him every day. Because I saw an Instagram video because he modded Skyrim.
Oh yeah, it was just the AI thing with the VR.
Yeah. No, it's not even that. He made every single character so they could, his chat could decide what they were going to say. So they would type in a wee thing and it would come up on the screen and they would say it. And it's hilarious, like some of the stuff that it says. And there's also a guy that he basically streams. It's like one of those chivalry type things where it's like, or like half sword or something like that, where you just fight on this plane and he just punches people. And it's not. There's nothing good about it. It's just the things that he says are incredible. Like I think it's like Ayo Fatnap or something like that. And he basically just roasts them as he batters them. It's hilarious. So it's just like you create something like that, you're onto a winner.
That's it. I mean,
you can't create these moments though.
It's again to come back to that analogy. It's like if you were a band that wanted to make it, you had to differentiate yourself from what's out in the market. So streamers are doing that now, which is what's my niche. And yes, sometimes it gets weird, but most of the time it's just a certain. If you look at Dark Souls, right, you'll have the prominent streamers there because they will do things within that game. It becomes a little bit of a meta game in itself, and that's your genre. That's what you're into. So the people will subscribe to that because the big misunderstanding, I think, for some people outside of the gaming sphere, when you're talking about kids want to be streamers, like you said, you just want to sit and play games. No, it's like it's a creative outlet, and if that's a dream, they want to build the community, be creative around that. Then I get it.
Yeah,
I
really do. I
it.
totally understand it. It's, but that's the reality that they don't understand. And I think personally, within me trying to stream things now, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Like, I have Twitch open on my phone just in case, and you know,
you blow up
because like, oh my god, somebody's noticed me. I have one viewer now, but you know, I'm not doing it with being successful in mind. I'm just doing it to throw things out there, and worst comes to worst, I can just save the VODs and use it as stuff on TikTok. So it's like it's useful for that, but there's things that you don't even consider, like the age. You have to be at least 13 to stream. And it's like, okay, then what? So then what do you have to do? So it's like you have to then think about, you know, as a teenager at that point, what can you show and what can't you show? Like you can't jump in from school still wearing your school uniform and stuff like that because they're going to know where you are. Don't overshare. Like be wary of what you're saying to people because you know the internet's a terrible place to begin with. But you know, be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Like you create a community of absolute nutters.
I mean, sadly, you do see it, you know. And don't get me wrong, there's a slight bit of entrepreneurial thinking there because I've always said, if you want to make money on the internet, be the most despicable bastard you can be, and you will make money. But that means you have to live with yourself, and that's why we get all these like right wing grifters.
You've got this wee guy, on Kick at the moment called Jack Doherty, or something his name is.
Yeah,
he's just a wee dweeb that I saw sort of footage of him before where he would like purposely walk into people, like arms out, walk into people.
Yeah.
But he's got a security guard next to him, so if they try and do something towards him, he'll jump in front of them, which is hilarious. But it's like he's just a wee ball bag.
Yeah. I mean, you look at other ones, like they're always good and bad examples. The one that comes to mind for me is that Count Dankula guy. And if you look at it, even though you might be like, I'm just, short joke, whatever not, and it's like you'll cultivate a community around that.
Was that the guy? Is that a Scottish guy?
I did not.
Was that the guy who did with the dog? That was fucking hilarious.
And it's like standard cycle. You get called out in it, then you double down.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, dirtbags for dirtbags. But
yeah,
I digress.
It's true though.
It's time.
Aye, it's it's a weird place. I think that in my research for this episode, what shone through though is that there is an understanding from all of these places like Twitch that, there's a reality there where children might want to stream. So it's there's tons of resources. I mean, like Twitch has their own, their own safety guidelines and safety protocols for parents if your children are going to do it.
Do you know the guidelines with YouTube? Because that's where you get a lot of kid streamers.
I'm not sure, but
opening toys and all that stuff.
Parents create, like, my daughter went through the Diana and Roma stage where it's just they're just opening toys for opening toys' sake, and they had a new house every single time that they recorded. Diana, I'm deep in Diana and Roma lore.
No, the lore.
Honestly, I watched them every single day for about 3 months straight.
Yep.
Couldn't hear it anymore. The dad is the best though. I'll die for that man. But I would say that if the question comes up, your son or daughter comes up to you and says, I want to stream, just go online, have a look. Like EE come out of nowhere, they've got their own resources and stuff as well. Like they'll help you with it at the same time. There's tons of things.
I think for me, it's, I've got a point that I'll finish. I'll come back to it later. But whilst we're on this, I think for me, it's, if your kid comes to you, and I think it is, they just want to imitate things that they're most exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. Streaming's cool. Like we said, you'd be living a dream if you managed to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
Who wouldn't want to do that? But I think what I would say if it was my son that was coming to me, he said, I want Dad, I'm going to be a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you're no son of mine. No. It's like, I'd be like, cool, chase your dreams. But I would approach it the same way my dad approached me when I was, say, about 13.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to be a drummer, and he was like, get a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure, like, chase it, but be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably got a 1 in a million chance, because you're shite. You've got like a 1 in a million chance. But it's like there's more to it than just playing games.
Yeah.
So the way I thought about it was, if you're smart, right, and if you wanted to look at this from a perspective of you're going to go do streaming, but also learn the craft behind it to build up some really attractive and convergent skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, no guarantee in life. It's a lottery. No matter how good you are, if the streaming fails, maybe you get skilled in things like video production or graphic design, or the technical side of things,
100%.
And I think that's a good way, a constructive way, as a starting point to be like, right, don't just do it from the viewpoint of you stick your PC, your PlayStation, your Xbox on and just sit and play games. Of course, that's a big part of it, but really get under the hood, understand it, get those technical skills, and one day when, if you make it, fantastic. If you don't, you've got some really good skills there that you could take into loads of different career paths. And let's face it, AI is going to put most of us at the job anyway, so you might as well be technically skilled at this point. But I think if you've got kids there and they are going to be a little older pursuing that, what you had touched on there, like you've got school, you've got the physical health and the mental health to look forward to as well. I would, if you wanted to be supportive, look at a realistic and, constructive schedule for them to do it. Maybe they do it 1 time a week or something like that for 2 hours. Maybe you're a little bit more lenient. You do you. Like, I'm not here to comment on that. You work out something and put those boundaries around the kind of the same way you would with kids that maybe are a little bit younger than that playing online, the way that you've got those tools to kind of stop them. Because cyberbullying and, like you said, internet's a terrible place. You don't want them exposed to that.
Yeah.
And there's all these concerns about, Roblox and all that stuff. There's some, nonsense lurking online. And unfortunately it does happen. But, you've got to like monitor the activity for their safety.
Yeah.
It's that sad reality. You don't know who's engaging with them, especially from a streaming perspective. And, if you streaming like any other form of entertainment, we were talking about wrestling earlier, if you're getting a reaction back from the audience, you will look to feed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just naturally what you do because that breeds success. But it depends what that reaction back is. Where it's like, especially if it starts to go down a bit of a seedy route, you know, like there's a lot of streamers out there that might put out some like titillating content and stuff, and it's like you don't want like your 14-year-old or something doing that.
Yeah.
So you've got to be that. You will have to screen it. I think if you just kind of be like, right, up you go, up the stairs, do what you want. I think taking a responsible viewpoint on it.
I mean, there's options where you can moderate on it as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can get involved with it as well. I mean, granted, it might not be what you want to do, spending your Tuesday evening, you know, watching your Wayne on stream, but if it keeps them safe, you know what I mean? Like,
couldn't imagine it much.
Exactly. Like, I'm playing Mario Kart. It's just like, all right, you're just eighth place.
Gone the wrong way.
Sending a message like, you're shite. But it's like it's
under a moniker.
I'm not your not your real dad. It's just like you're pish. It's just it's silly, but there's definitely something there. Like and content, you know, there's so much of it now that fucking might as well. Someone got viral and like literally has made millions over talking about sucking bobies. Do you know what I mean? Like that Hawk Tui lady, like she's fucking everywhere. I
was going to say, where you going with this? The oldest business in the world.
She's absolutely everywhere.
That's
like
true. Although, did you see the viewer retention just spiral?
Oh, it is. But she's done all right for herself.
Millions.
So
made millions.
You know what I mean? She's set herself up, but it's these things where you're literally one stupid thing away from blowing up. I
didn't do it. You know, the Bart Simpson. Yeah, kind of 15 minutes of fame.
That's what it is, though. It is, and feeding into that. But just take care of yourselves. Like, take care of yourselves. Take care of the Waynes.
That's it.
And you know what? Like, with streaming at the moment, all the streamers that you're watching now are getting older. Like, we're watching them age.
Yes.
Mr. Beast is older now than he was.
Old AF, as you could say.
Like, there's only so many Mr. Beastables or whatever it is. But
Beastables.
That's what it is, right? But all these people are getting older. Like KSI and all his mates, they're no longer teenagers and stuff like that and young adults that are cool. They're all settling down, having Waynes. KSI's just dropped one of the worst songs ever made, and he's getting absolutely blooted for it. But like, they're going to age out, and as I've said before, and I'll continue to say, I believe the children are our future.
Oh, God. That was perfectly applied.
But it's teach them well and let them lead the way. Like, it's show them all the beauty. No, it's just, you know, educate. That's all you can do. It's
educate, inform, and be responsible.
You know, that's literally all it is. And I reckon, honestly, we're a few years away from schools taking a more proactive approach with it as well. Like, there has to be modern sensibilities in it. Like, you know, let's teach woodworking in schools. It's just like, who the fuck's building shit anymore?
Do you know, I'm sidetracking here, but I remember I was at my mum's the other day, right? And she could be guilty now. You know, my mum's in her late 50s, so she'll kill me for that. She's 21. But we were talking about phones, right? And she's very much like tarring them all with the same brush. She's like, the kids today, they don't know their phone number. They don't know, they can't write. It's like, and do you remember the phones? Oh God, I'd get rid of them. And she starts going on, like, remember the old phones? The ones where you put your finger in it and you would just use the dial. So like, why can't we just go back to that? And I was like, do you know what I mean? I'm just half listening. I'm like, because they were crap. Like, no. Like,
did you wait 10 years to phone 999?
You already did.
The house is burnt in.
It's like, I don't understand that viewpoint. And you're right, like, there is a bit of a culture, like, post, I don't know if it's like post 2016, this kind of Trumpian attitudes came in, and there's a bit of a culture around, let's go back. And it's like, no, like, we should always go forward, and the kids will always show us the way of what it is. And it is scary for old folks like us that are kind of like, oh, this is different. But you either get with it or it just washes you away, man. Like, and I don't want to be that old fuddy duddy when I'm older.
Aye, I think that it's good. Like for us, we understand it. Like there's an understanding in the way things are moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm still blind to half of this stuff, but I have a basic understanding. Like my wife doesn't know anything about this. Like she doesn't have a Scooby how it all works. Like sending her email sometimes is difficult. So it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like updating her phone scares her. So it's just like if my daughter walked into the house and said to my wife, "I want to start streaming," she would be like,
Start shouting on you,
Scott, where are you? But it's just, as you say, it's just educate yourself, and it's a modern thing that's becoming more realistic than ever. Like it's becoming the norm now. So and do you know what? This is my final point on it.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to come in and say, "I want to be a streamer," also be like, "Look, you have no personality, mate. like don't be afraid. Like you can create content and create stuff and put it out there, but not all of it has to get fired out there. Like create a private YouTube channel between yourselves and just see how it goes to begin with. Like
hone your craft.
You don't have to be showing everyone, your day in the life of a 14-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Like I wait my day in the life at 14. Like I wake up, I roll out of bed, eat toast, go to school, come back, play games, and start it all over again. Like these children now, they're creating content where they want to become billionaires and all that now. Like I want to become a billionaire at 13, and they're creating TikTok content on it. It's like fair dues, man. Like
aye, go for
fair
it.
enough to you, but aye, that's my 2 cents on it.
I mean,
Kent Broughton.
When looking at this subject, it did make me like, this is probably as old as I'm going to sound, but I was like, it is interesting, but there's a part of me that is going to be sad about that kind of traditional games media space, and we're seeing it in real time die out, and you can't have that back.
Yeah.
It's now, the money's not there. I remember working in traditional journalism and having the head honchos come up from London, and they were leading from the back, and it's like everything's shifting to online. And I've seen colleagues, get let go who are print or having to change to online. Luckily, I was online at the time. And the thing that always upped me about journalism in particular.
Oh God, here he goes.
I know.
Here he goes. Brace yourselves, folks.
Brace yourself. But
this is the Megan Trainor part of this
No,
segment for Liam.
I will add the caveat. This is purely from my genuine working experience within the industry. But with journalism, on the whole, it's guilty of it always being a very middle class vocation. So there was very little people coming from working class backgrounds, and if they weren't coming from a route that wasn't a who you knew route. There was a lot of people that you would know of. It was like, oh, they know such and such, or they know his dad, or whatever, and it's that type of thing. And the problem is that only goes up as opportunities go down.
Yeah.
And this is the thing where I do worry about the games media space as well, because you're getting so many closing sites now, and you've got lots of experience floating about with less and less places for them to go. So naturally, the big phenomenon for me is, and it's shite, which is I've lost my job. But if you're looking for someone with these skills, hit me up.
Yeah.
And I find that such a fascinating phenomenon.
It's incredible when you see it. It's just like,
because if you and I lose a job tomorrow, I can't just put a tweet and just say, I've got all these skills, somebody hire me. It's more just back to Indeed, back to, well, I've been there before in life where I remember as a young man, and I walked out on a job when I was in a marketing agency because the owner was an absolute dauber, right? So that's the only way to describe him. And it was like that, stick this up your ass, I'm away. And I remember driving in the car home and busting out of tears. I'm like, I have a mortgage to pay. What have I just done? And then just taking the first bit of work that I could get just to have worked myself back up. And then over time, I managed to get the opportunity back into traditional journalism, which was good. But I look at it as such a fascinating phenomenon, and it's not helping itself, because that in itself, the reason why I'm touching on this is because if you are a kid now, or even a young adult, there is very, very little opportunity for you now to break into that space. And new talent breeds innovation, which makes it more attractive.
Yeah.
But I can totally see why if you're someone that is, 17, 18, 19 or something, say you were a little bit more savvy and you're creating content, you're not thinking, I'm going to go write for IGN and I'm going to be on camera on their channel. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to create my own stuff. So I can totally see how the journey here, because it feels more insular.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that, like all of the media that I digest at the moment is American. Like,
that's another big problem.
The UK doesn't have many.
It's just been
institutions like that. Like, it's
out.
But even just from the point of view of even online, I could maybe name you one, but out with that, there's not many bastions of that kind of media anymore. It doesn't exist, and that then hinders this what do you call it, a stage where you can set people out like, look, this is such and such from this area in the UK, like shine a light on them, shine a light on these smaller creators that they're doing something. Like, go and follow these people, like kind of show them what you can do. But we don't have that anymore. You're just expected to be like, this is what I'm doing, throw it out into the ether and hope for the best. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then if you get picked up by a bigger organization or someone that shines a light on you, then you've done well. But you just have to hedge your bets with these kind of things. Like, you just have to hope for the best sometimes. And like with what we're doing here, for example, right, this hasn't been made to be, in my own head, this hasn't been made to be, the world best podcast. Do you know what I mean? No. Like, this is a podcast for us, and it's
that just happened by accident, Scott.
But we talk about things that we find interesting, like, and I think that I hope that's what comes across. Like, I don't claim to be the all-knowing in this, right? I don't claim it, but I just think it's cool to sit here and have a laugh and create this content for people, right? Because it lands somewhere. But if we were to turn around tomorrow and say, a big company down south said, look, we've actually listened to your podcast, we think it's class, we'd love to showcase it to people, be like, fucking too right, then on you go.
Of course.
Like, that's what you want. So it's like there's but that doesn't happen anymore. Like, it does. You don't have these people doing that. So this is the call to action.
Here we go.
But I'm going to start doing it. I'm not actually, because I don't have that following. I don't have anything. But it's just like, there has to be somewhere where smaller creators can be shown to people. Like, it's people that I don't know, but it's something that I've seen. I'm like, look, this is really cool. Like, go and follow this person. Go and show your support.
There is actually one of my notes here, because actually one of the biggest people in the space, in the games media space, I say biggest, probably most well known, is obviously Kind of Funny, a US outfit. Obviously, former IGN staff.
Yeah.
They've made that, and they've now transitioned into that podcast. Now they're billing it as daily talk shows, but they're actually doing that this week.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up. It's just
which is pretty cool.
It's great, and obviously that's how Blessing ended up there.
Yeah,
with what they've done before. So there's obviously something there, and it works because we've seen Blessing do so well. So there's obviously something there. It's just in the UK, it does feel like we're beholden to this American media.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's the pie is in their court. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Pie in this court.
It's like, but
that goes down to everything though. It's like even traditional media, like the UK is very obsessed with American, like everything.
Yeah.
In America, they aren't fascinated by what we do in the same sense. And that's fine, that's absolutely fine, because that's just the way the world works. But I do look at it, and I can totally understand why kids have got to this point.
Yeah, 100%.
It does make me like, there's a lot of phenomenons. I think they actually probably might have more people working in the market and PR space here than games, like media to the audience, I suppose. And you've seen that more, that job title of like influencer, like manager and stuff like that. Like, the tide has turned, and you're not seeing, like you said, I can probably think there's just like VGC, Eurogamer, VG247, IGN UK, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
There's not really much more. And the problem is that it gets smaller. These people are impacted by it, and they're impacted by the change in the trend of these kids are like young adults now chasing the streaming wagon, because that's ultimately what's diminishing the returns of people going to websites and not buying magazines and all that stuff. And then you get to the point, well, if you're working in games media, you've got two options, which is can't beat them, join them, become a streamer, and fair play to you, because that's not easy. Or you could pivot into PR comms, which I can tell you is a totally different kettle of fish, and good luck to you. So, because that was a humbling moment, going between that. But it's not easy out there, man. But I still hope that games has some form of bespoke media that isn't just solely reliant on, 3-hour retrospectives on YouTube or a Twitch stream, because I still want to read stuff. I still want to get just those little nuggets of information.
Yeah.
The PlayStation blog, that type of stuff, like I want to get those just like small, to the point updates.
Yeah. I mean, love him or loathe him, Jason Schreier is fantastic at that.
He does amazing work at like digging it out and, calling out all these bad things that's happening in the industry. It'd be great if he would have a positive story every now and then, but that's not his fault. That's just the industry's fault, because he's just finding all these big, shocking, shite things that's happening. And that's, we're probably starting to snowball into a different subject altogether. But what I will say is, it seems to be gaming, streaming, and pro gaming, hardly touched that, but it's probably one and the same in the sense of like what you're wanting to do, make gaming a career, and build an audience around that.
And I would say
it's
that
not going away.
It has to be, as a parent with a child who wants to do it, it has to be a very two-way thing. Like you really have to sort of work together on it.
Yes, I'd treat it like any other extracurricular career ambition.
Yeah.
The same way I was thinking about like the music stuff, or if you might be a footballer or whatnot, give them structure.
Project Mbappe,
the sponsorships will come. And who knows what happens? Maybe you are the parent of the next future star out there, and that's exciting, But I would say make sure they've got a good balance. I think that's only right in saying it. Give them some structure.
Yeah.
Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
May the fortune be forever in their favour. That's what I would say. But on that note, Scott, I think that brings us to the next segment.
I tried to set you up with the greatest transition on air.
Wasn't ready.
Honestly.
I'm not segueing on your terms. Of course, it means that it's time for the Pixel Picks Showdown, where each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers/streamers. So last week's theme was football, non-hand egg, with Pro Evolution Soccer 5 becoming the latest addition to the list. So in this week's Showdown, Scott, we're going to be debating what best co-op game we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Now, as always, last week's winner goes last, so I'll be going last. Hooray me. Should also add, we've probably never really specified this. We can't add the same game twice on the list.
We have specified it. It's just not something we've ever brought back up again. I think I alluded to it a few weeks back with something, and I don't think I was right.
Probably Metal Gear Solid.
It might have been something. I think it was around that time, but it was a very difficult conversation because, we did put It Takes Two on the list already. So immediately you're like, well...
I've enjoyed that though. I've enjoyed taking the low hanging fruit away from me, and I have a belter, but you go first.
I have a choice. So I did think about it, the co-op games that I've played, and I think about games like Fighting Force back in the day. A lot of games like that, Sonic Heroes and stuff like that as well. Pretty sure you can play that as a 2-player. Kind of mind though. Might be wrong about that. And I'll take
Someone
my medicine.
correct
I'll take my medicine. But send us YouTube super chats. Tell me I'm wrong. But
I still don't know how they work.
I don't understand it. Let's pay someone to tell me. I'm not getting into it. But my honourable mention for this week comes from a place where it's nostalgia because I remember doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember loving every single minute of it. And it was actually done with your fine self back in the day.
Oh, right. Okay.
A cooperative fashion. But it's just, I don't want it to be my pick, but I just want it to be known that the times that we played God of War, Gears of War, fucking hell. The times that we played Gears of War were life changing, to be honest with you.
So good.
It was great.
So good.
I still live for them. But no, not the choice. I don't want to dwell on it too long because I don't really have an honourable mention, because the minute I saw the cooperative gameplay, I was like, this is the choice to make.
Okay.
It is the only choice I could have made.
Mm-hmm.
And the game that I've picked is Helldivers 2.
Oh, right. Okay.
Now, in everything leading up to this game coming out, no idea what it was going to be, and I had no interest in playing it. But I had a £40 PlayStation voucher when that game came out, and I said, you know what, I'm going to buy it. Why not? And good grief, what a bloody video game that is. The trailer's never done it justice because it's so full of personality. It's not afraid to take the piss out itself. But from a purely co-op perspective, that is the whole game. You know, you, and if you're playing with three of your mates. If you're playing with three folk, you know, you hope that they're all staying together and helping each other out. Mm-hmm. But it's just pure chaos and fun. Like that's the thing with co-op games, is that when it works, when you work together and everything works, it's phenomenal.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. Mm. But there's something to be said for when everything all goes tits up and you have that one player that's always off doing their own thing and you see them die. It's just hilarious. And, you know, it tends to be me 9 times out of 10 that's wandered down the wrong path and been killed by some mad terminid. But it's just, you know, that game itself just embodies teamwork.
Yeah.
Like, at its core, that's what it wants you to do. It doesn't want you playing it by itself. So much so that when you try and jump into matches by yourself, you know, you're constantly bombarded with you can join other games, you know, you can jump in and people can ask you for help, you can call for help.
Yeah.
The whole stratagem system where you can top your mates up with ammo and stuff like that you can call in backpacks and you can carry ammo for people. So when you're in the middle of this firefight, you can go and you can collect ammo from them. And, you know, part of it is that when they die, you can call them back in. So you drop back in from the sky and you can revive yourself. Like, it's fucking brilliant. It's so good. But it is just, it's a complete, I mean, I think we're looking at it now from a completely different perspective because we've seen Concord come out and fucking die on its arse. But Helldivers 2, by all accounts, should have done the same thing. Like,
and nobody expected this.
Nobody expected
the success. Fastest selling PlayStation game of all time.
It is excellent. And honestly, it's one of those games where I think that the minute that it comes out on PlayStation Plus, it's going to have another explosion. Like, it's going to erupt. And
I'll be there.
If it came on Xbox again, it would create a whole ecosystem, because it is one of those games where it could be like a World of Warcraft or something where it just goes on forever, because the gameplay doesn't change minute to minute, really. It's just you jump into this place and fight off hordes of monsters.
That's the secret sauce, though. You know,
it's so funny. It's so good. But the whole co-op aspect of it is just that you have to work together. Like, to make a success of this, you have to work together. Mm-hmm. And the loadouts that you create has to complement the other members of the team, so much so that when you drop in, you can see what they have. So it's like, right, I'll maybe pick this, I'll maybe pick that to complement what they're doing. It's just a masterpiece. Like, it's genuinely a complete 10 out of 10. Like, in my head, I can't think of anything that I dislike about that game. And so much so that I wish it came out 10 years later that I could play it with my nephews. I could play it with my daughter. I could play it together. Like, it's one of those games where I think that the minute it hits you, you're going to fall like deeply in love with it, because it's just so stupid. But I think that as time goes on, time is going to be like that game's best friend, because it's going to create so much content around it. Like, it is a juggernaut, and fans are crying out for more in it. So the minute I saw the co-op part of it, I just thought Helldivers 2. It has to be the one.
Okay, good choice. Well, I've been places on my choices, right? And I put a lot of thought into this, and I'm really excited about this one, right? But my honourable mention, equally excited about that. Well, maybe not equally, just a little bit less. So my honourable mention this week is GTA Online, right?
Okay.
And I thought hard, and I had to go for moments, right? So I thought, what really shone through as the best moments for a co-op experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
That really just put the smile on my face. And GTA Online surprised even me when I was thinking about this. I was like, I did not have that in my head. But the sheer genius and highs when you play the heists on this, I mean, unparalleled, right? I had no right, and you were part of the heist, right? And I distinctly remember the first heist we did at the chemical factory in Los Santos.
Yeah.
And the communication part being so key is we needed to all line up our sniper shots to take out the first round of guards to progress into the factory. And it was like, right, ready, line up, okay, good. 3, 2, 1. Everybody pull the trigger at the same time, and you just seen everybody drop. I was like, oh man, that's cool. It's like so cool. And it delivered on that heist fantasy because it totally immersed you in that moment where you're like, we were doing this heist, like we're role playing effectively.
Yeah, 100%.
And the only thing that I couldn't put it as my main pick just because I had such a high barrier of entry through being a certain level. You needed to have X amount of players. You couldn't get like NPCs at the time. To help you through it. But man, it was when everything was together and you were cooking, damn it was good. It was good. But the reason as well I didn't pick it is because it's online. Right? So I've had to pick something that isn't online. Okay, which I think gives it a bit of an edge, but you would never guess this in a month of Sundays, right? My pick this week is a game called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which, yes, it's a VR game. So, Alex, you're going to love this. But I have such incredible memories playing this game, and particularly with my wife, who's not a gamer, right? So I think this adds points to for myself. But in that first year of marriage together, and I'm probably a bit sentimental because we had our anniversary this week. But it's like, I had such good memories of us playing that together. Big empty house with us, just kind of nothing to do but enjoy each other's company. And one of us with the PSVR headset on, and the other one with a manual of how to dispose of a bomb. And, PSVR, I suppose, is something that's quite prominent in that time of my life, even from going back to the wedding speech photos from yourself that you kindly provided of myself in a big Batman made PSVR headset. That was great. Thanks, Scott. And to my wife indulging me on our honeymoon when we were in New York and there was a Sony pop-up event in Manhattan for PSVR before it came out. I'm like, I'm an excited child. I'm like, can I go? She's like, yep, on you go.
Can I go?
You're married into it now. There's no running away. And just going in there to play another demo. But to come back to the game, it is absolutely fantastic, chaotic fun. Have you did we play it once together?
I've never played it, but I've seen it be played.
So the concept is simple, right? So, and it's genius. So one person, so you'd have the headset on, and what you're seeing is the bomb in front of you, this contraption, right? And you've also got the sticks and that to kind of pick up things around it, and you can manipulate it. The person without the headset has an instruction manual, and you have to work together to disarm it. So the twist being, of course, is that only the person with the headset can see the bomb. It's not on the TV. So you have to communicate. So it's like, right, Scott, is there a red wire? Aye, there's 10. So what one do I get? And you're obviously working against the clock because it can't, if you don't do it in time, it'll explode. And it is pure, silly, chaotic fun. Like, you could play this one with one other person, as we did. You could play it in a party. It's some of the most fun you'd ever have. Honestly, I could not recommend that game enough because, and I think from a cooperative perspective, I found it to be such a unique choice because the game literally needs cooperation.
You need someone else to play it with you.
It needs cooperation. Without it, you've got a bomb that explodes. So, and that's why I didn't pick like GTA Online, because it's like I could jump on that myself. I can cater to that. Whereas Keep Talking, No One Explodes is a bit like It Takes Two. It is a cooperative game. It needs another person. So yeah, that's my pick this week. A surprising choice.
It is a surprising choice. It's not really. It's when you look at the games that you could have picked for co-op games. It's there's loads of them, but I couldn't think of any. It's like
I always came back to like shooters.
Yeah,
that was the first thing. But
Army of Two, your favourite shooter. Kane and Lynch. Remember Kane and Lynch?
Kane and Lynch, yep.
That was fucking brilliant. Remember we played that?
Yep. We also played Army of Two. I got that to review.
You got that to review.
6 out of 10, folks.
I have like amazing memories of Kane and Lynch, but it obviously wasn't good.
But it always comes down to that shooter thing.
Yeah.
The co-op. I don't get it. And that's why I Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. I've never seen such a clever use of cooperative gameplay.
100%.
Outside of like It Takes Two, which takes obviously shooter, platform, and action aspects. But this one, man, genius. Absolute genius. I would honestly, I don't know if it's on PSVR 2. If it was on there, I'd go get it just to play it again, man. Like, so good. So good.
See, nah. That's the barrier for entry though, isn't it? Like it's...
Of course, but it's the same with any console though. I'm talking about the game.
I know, but the game. That's the barrier for entry though.
Like, just be the bigger man and just give me the win. That's it.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I really don't. It's you're beholden to the other person wanting to play it at that point. Do you know what I mean? But with Helldivers, you can jump in and you can.
It's just a shooter.
I know, but it's a great shooter. It's not. It's actually not though. It's not just the shooter. There's really more to it. There's a ton of more things you can do with it, and there's a weird dive mechanic as well. I've seen like footage of this VR game.
I need to dig out the PSVR just
to play it. I
would love it. It's so silly.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I do understand it. I'm willing to concede, but I want it to be heard that I'm not happy about it because it's. I'm not happy about it. I'll do it for Alex.
Oh, there we go.
That's it. He's
clinched it.
He's the Simpsons board. What is it? Do it for her.
That's it.
I've just got wee pictures of Alex on that board.
do it for Alex. Well, there we go. I hope he's pleased. But yes, well, congratulations to Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. You are now officially the best co-op game on the Pixel Picks list. I'm so pleased.
Heathen.
So pleased.
Disgusting.
Honestly, 2 in a row. Here we go. Is it actually?
That's more than that.
Is it longer? No, it can't be.
It is. It's like 3 or 4.
No. Because we actually had 2 weeks in a row. We had the same.
So it's technically 3 or 4 because
technically the week before that, Ocarina of Time.
You won.
Okay, week before that, Street Fighter 2. That was Alex. For that, Knight's Old Republic. GTA San Andreas. For that, Gears of War. Is that you? Is that me?
I can't tell you.
God, man, you're having a stinker of it. This is relegation form.
It is relegation form. God. It's all been skewed because you were raging because I won a few. So you're picking the topics now. And I'm not very happy about it.
I have a funny feeling you might be in with a chance next week.
I disagree, but we'll come to that.
We'll come to that next week.
Coming up next week.
You'll just have to tune in to find out. Always wanted to say that. Well, of course, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. And if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, leave us a wee 5-star review. Go one better. Just retweet it. Say, guys, check out this podcast. It's half decent, by the way. That's what we say here. And of course, it helps us out. Makes a big difference. Scott, it's test time. So where can people find you online if they wanted to follow your happenings on Twitch?
Happenings on Twitch and on Twitter and everybody else. Lamberman91. Is that the one we're looking for?
That's the one.
Don't come at me. I can't be bothered. Like,
it's got the Megan Trainor
fan base now just coming at me.
It's a queue.
I mean, they're all on TikTok and Instagram making terrible content anyway. So come at me if you want. No. But
Instagram stands coming after this.
Let's go for it. But where can we find you on the old soch?
You can find me at Carmelite on social medias. I'm on, but that's everywhere. You know, whether it's Twitter,
Last FM.
What's the other one? What was the one we all said we were going to jump to and we didn't go to?
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, that's right. It's died of death, isn't
it? Follow on Instagram Threads. Liam's everywhere, man.
That's everywhere.
Just going listening to all these fetid thoughts.
Fetid thoughts. It's actually the same thoughts copy and pasted across all channels. And of course, a thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and handsome and just wonderful Mr. Sean Murray.
Like beefcake.
The man that makes all this happen.
He does. Do you know, he's what strives me to be a better human being.
Yeah.
One look in that man's eyes and everything just turns to gold.
He's just the best person.
You can tell I'm getting tired because I'm just talking shite now.
Well, no, I think if I don't know where you can find Sean online. I don't think he is online, but if he was online, I would say go find him and give him some sweet, nasty love. That's what he deserves. And of course, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms and follow us on Twitter at pixel_parents. And of course, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com.
If you've listened this far, if you've got this far in this podcast, tell me one good Megan Trainor song, please.
Okay, well, you know what to tweet at us. The challenge is on. Let them know, please. Let them know. I'd be fascinated to see the results myself.
I mean, the good thing is if nobody replies, then there's no good Megan Trainor songs.
Christ. Oh, this is I like your logic. I do like your logic. But of course, until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.